Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, welcome. Today I'm coming at you with another story time, and stay tuned because this one's going to get juicy. So I'm going to be covering 10 things that Sports Direct workers do not tell you about their job. So let's get into the video. So I'm going to start off with the first one, which is you get really good discount. I'm going to start on a high. You get really good discount at Sports Direct. This is coming from an experience that I didn't actually work for Sports Direct, but I worked for their partner company, which is called USC. It is online if you feel free to look it up. USC is basically the normal clothing of Sports Direct. It's under the same company name. It's run by the same managers. It's run by the same payroll. So yeah, you do get really good discount. I know this applies for both USC and Sports Direct because I had friends that worked there. I think as far as I remember, you got 40% off any trousers or jeans, you got 40% off any footwear, but it was only selected footwear, and 20% off of tops as far as I remember. And I can't remember if we got discount on accessories. I don't think we did. But yeah, you got really good discount. However, there was a catch. You could only use this discount on yourself, which means they'd kind of take your sizing when you started work. So they knew that you were a size 5 shoe like me. I wore a size 6 to 8 skinny jeans, and I wore anywhere between an 8 or a 10, sometimes a 12 if it was a jumper, which was on my top half. This basically meant that I could only use the discount for myself, and if it meant that my parents wanted something, I could pretty much only get away with buying them bottoms if they were same size as me, or tops ranging up to a 12. If you use your discount on any clothing that is not made for yourself, i.e. you're not intending to wear it at work or just wearing it in general, you get fired. Number 2 is the pay is absolutely astounding. I know I mentioned this in my 10 care workers or support workers don't tell you about their job. This takes pay to a whole new level. I mean, when I started, I was under 18. It was one of my first jobs, and I was being paid £4.38 an hour. It was basically working for peanuts, and the amount of work we did, I didn't think retail in a clothing shop would be so physically demanding, but yeah. £4.39 or £4.38, whatever it was a stupid amount of money for what we were doing. It did annoy me a little bit, and so if you see any of the Sports Direct or USC staff looking pretty glum or just looking like they hate their job, for the pay, I'd hate my job, because for the amount of work you do, you just don't get paid enough. So that is number 2. Number 3 is you work on commission. I am not entirely sure if this transfers over to Sports Direct, but I know for USC, I think every month we got given a list of 3 t-shirts and 3 pairs of jeans that we had to kind of push to sell. So if someone came in looking for a pair of jeans, we tried to steer them towards the commissioned ones. Just like if you went into USC at any point and they offer you insoles, it's because the people on footwear are working on commission. If we sold a pair of Fire Trap socks or the memory foam insoles, the commission would go into sort of a virtual store money pot. So every time someone got a commission, we obviously got recognised for being a good salesman or a good saleswoman, because we made the commission, and then all the money got put into a pot and was shared out at the end. Remember this pot, it comes up later. Number 4 is changing rooms are just a dark, dark place in Sports Direct and USC. I know the one in Basingstoke, I don't think Sports Direct have a changing room. USC does. There are things that I've seen in those changing rooms, let me tell you, that any normal person would go to therapy for them. Once a woman decided to go into the changing rooms of USC to change her tampon. And what did she do? She left the tampon in there, didn't she? And unfortunately, me being the only girl on shift that knows how to deal with these things, had to go and retrieve it. Just like we have a lot of thefts happen in the changing rooms, and of course sex. The amount of people we've caught having one off in a changing room is disgusting. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend trying anything on in the store. I'd buy it and take it home because they're dirt. Number 5 is anything that is own brand is usually very overpriced and really, really bad quality. As far as I remember, Firetrap was one of the main brands sort of sponsored / owned by USC / Sports Direct. And a plain V-neck t-shirt was like £17 for a white V-neck t-shirt. I mean, yeah. And we had so many people come back returning them because the threads, sort of the stitching underneath the armpit had split, the V-neck had split, just the seams split, or you wash it once and it goes from being a really, really good sort of solid looking t-shirt and then it suddenly just goes see-through, like in one wash. Yeah. Number 6 is the stock room. Might not happen in all of the stores, but there is usually some colleagues that are obviously in a relationship or just fooling around. The stock room is a great place for having sex, apparently. Who has sex in a storeroom? I mean, maybe I'm just missing out, but can't see that it'd be very comfortable. It's also pretty dirt, as people have got to try those clothes on and shoes on, and you're gonna be sat there banging one out around them, but hey ho. I learned very, very quickly to knock on the storeroom door before entering, because it's just sights that some people, especially when you're 16 and it's your first job, you just don't want to see those sights. Number 7 is again about the stockroom. It's a death trap. Aside from people having sex in there, most of the ladders are broken, most of the shelves are wobbly, and all of the shoes in the shoe storeroom are stacked just one on top of the other, which means if you've got a lad that's come in and he's got size 13 feet, you've got about 7 boxes on top of the size 13 box. And you have no way of picking the other boxes up and putting them on the floor because it's on the 3rd shelf, isn't it? That's about 2 stories high. So you've just got to hopefully hold on to the bottom one and just pull it out really, really quickly and just hope that the avalanche of shoes won't kill you. Number 8 is you rely heavily on radios. I know this is applicable for both stores. Those guys are always rocking a radio. They seem to always be chatting. You never really understand what they mean or what they're talking about, because it's usually them just screaming numbers at each other. That's usually the code for shoes or some form of clothing that they can't be found, and you've just literally got to scream the numbers down the radio and hope that someone that's waiting in the stockroom can find it. Number 9 is standards at the end of the night. Don't know if you Sports Direct do it. I know USC did, and it's basically all of the shop floor staff. The manager would go out with one of the shop floor staff to do the cash up, and then all the rest of us would have to obviously put any returns back on the shelf or put them in the disposals bin if the clothes had been damaged. And then we had to go round every single rail, and we had to we'd go with our 3 little fingers and leave finger gaps in between every single hanger on every single rail. We then had to go and smarten up the shoes, make sure the laces were tucked in, that they had the little polystyrene fake feet. We had to make sure all of them had one of those in it. And then once you were all done, you then had to wait for your manager to come out, assess your work, and then if he said he wasn't happy, you had to do it all over again. Don't start me on standards. I think I've wasted a good year of my life doing standards at USC for literally nothing. Because you have lovely customers come in the morning and mess it all up again, so thanks. Last but not least is the bonus. So you remember me talking about that pot, that virtual money pot, that all of our commission money goes into it. So yeah, this gets emptied every 3 months and divvied out between all the staff in that particular store. So for example, say in 3 months we made £500 on commission. It doesn't get divvied out evenly, because obviously that would be fair and that would make life really easy. No, they divvy it out depending on how many hours you've worked. And this doesn't mean how many hours you've worked including overtime. This is how many you're contracted to work. So me, having quite a small contract, didn't get a lot. Just like the managers, who are there basically all the time, would get about £400 worth out of the 500 we had. And then they'd have £100 to divvy out between about 16 members of staff. So as you can imagine, you had quite a few people, like one of my fellow colleagues, who only worked 12 hours a week. He was the highest commission earning colleague of the month. He had sold, I think, something silly, like 16 insoles in a day. And yet, he got £22.50. Like, you've got people that worked so hard on these commission pieces, just put 110% into their job. And when it comes around to this bonus that we've worked so hard to build through commission, the managers get £400 of it, or however much, like 89% of it. The managers don't sell anything. The managers sit in their office or sit in the bloody stockroom. They don't actually work on commission. We're the ones making the commission, and yet they get 90% of it. Like, what's up with that? That's not okay. We're the ones making the commission, so therefore I think the commission should be divvied out between the people that actually put the commission into the money pot, but apparently that's not how Sports Direct work. So yeah, managers will always get paid more. Managers will always get a very unfair and large cut of any bonus schemes we have. Managers just generally are arseholes. Sorry, I said it. Everyone else that's sort of bottom line, or even supervisors or just more experienced staff, they get peanuts. They get basically no cut of the bonuses, and the managers get it all. And sorry, that's not okay. Thank you guys again for watching. If you would like to see more of me, hit that subscribe button down below. And if you'd like to see any more story times from me, obviously leave me a comment or like down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.